Dustforce DX for PC is my favorite game. It has been for 6 years. It has not been topped. It's still there. My first video, let's make Dustforce Appreciation post watchable. Fuck it, I'm just gonna read the Wikipedia blurb. Dustforce is a platform video game developed by Hitbox Team. The game was released in January 2012. The player controls one of 4 janitors who are attempting to sweep away a world corrupted with dust and filth. The player uses a number of acrobatic skills, such as double jumping and wall jumping, to progress through the game's 50-some levels, cleaning sections covered by leaves and attacking filth-covered creatures to score and progress through the level. The player's performance is ranked based on time and completion, and access to certain levels requires near-perfect runs of earlier levels. End quote. Thanks, Wikipedia. Dustforce is a masterpiece. Every aspect of Dustforce complements every other aspect to create a focused, fun, deep platformer. Dustforce provides enough easy levels for people who don't want to take the plunge to get their money's worth, but those who do want to dig deep will find dozens of hours of all killer, no filler, fun times, and good vibes. What makes the platforming so fun in Dustforce? Well, the moveset is complex and multifaceted, allowing for multiple ways to complete most levels, even if levels look like linear Kaizo affairs. Let's cover the controls very briefly so that you understand even remotely what I'm talking about. In Dustforce, players can run, jump, double jump, dash, midair dash, which uses the same midair charge as the double jump, light attack, heavy attack, and fast fall. Defeating an enemy while in midair refreshes your jump charge. Players can also cling to walls, jump off of walls, and clamber up walls for a short time. Now, the double jump charge is recharged by defeating an enemy in midair or landing, but the wall clamber charge is recharged by simply clinging to an opposite wall. Players can also slide on the ceiling if they jump toward it with some momentum and hold up. So when you look at Dustforce, you're seeing janitors sweeping dust and doing it in style. Just to give you a taste, let's list some examples of moveset depth here. Wall clambering and ceiling sliding turn walls and ceilings into less of an obstacle and more of an environmental tool to help with traversal. The fact that players can clamber up a wall and jump up a wall makes climbing a vertical shaft fun and interesting. Wall jumping up vertical shafts is both a bit shallow and a bit unbelievable. It seems like level designers just put vertical shafts into games to justify the wall jumping, but it's very disconnected from the rest of the level that they're put in. Think Super Mario Galaxy or A Hat in Time. All you do is you approach the vertical shaft, you jump, and you're done. There's not really any thought put into it, either by the designer or the player. However, the inclusion of the wall clamber makes climbing vertical shafts in Dustforce fun and interesting, because it takes more than one step to do. And, due to the position of dust and the varying distances between walls, there can be some variety in timing in climbing up a wall. Light attacks can chain into heavy attacks, and heavy attacks can be cancelled with a dash at around the time of impact, even if it doesn't impact. Combined with the fact that attacks can reach dust a player would otherwise have to touch, extending reach, and even reaching through walls, and tools for combat suddenly become part of the platforming, aka something players use to analyze the distance between themselves and dust, and decide whether to try and take a swing at the dust or to simply sweep it normally. The combination of midair hang time, midair dashing, fast falling, short hopping, and full hopping give players the tools to approach at any height without simply jumping and guessing how long you need to hold the A button. So those are some examples that make the moveset of Dustforce deep. What I'm trying to say is the moveset in Dustforce is deep and interesting and multifaceted. Players can vary up their approaches in very small ways and in very large ways depending on the level and the player's skill level. It's really fun, it's really good, it's really rewarding. More so than the moveset in Dustforce, I like the physics. Here are some of the quirks which make the physics fun. Players are very freaking heavy, they'll fall very fast. This decision is bold. I don't see this a lot outside of Super Smash Bros. Melee. Games tend to give players a bit of a slow falling time so that they have enough time to stop falling if needed at just the right height. But the strong gravity gives weight to the movement. What I mean to say is, it feels more kinetic and powerful to move a character, which gives the impression that they weigh a lot. It especially makes it fun because in Dustforce, players can move quite fast, both in terms of horizontal speed and in terms of chaining moves together quickly, which contrasts well with the clumsy feeling heavy weight that players who do mess up their movement feel. Despite Dustforce having momentum which can carry the player for long distances if they can hold on to it, players have a large degree of midair control for microspacing, drifting toward the next midair target, or falling straight down. Have you ever tried to fall straight down in a 2D platformer? It's not the easiest, but in Dustforce, it's doable. I really appreciate the way players hang in midair when they strike something. If a player strikes an enemy in midair, they'll drift upwards slightly. But if they just hit a dust block, I think they just hang into the air. Floating forward in midair while hitting dust blocks creates this unique feeling of hanging by a thread. Because hitting dust blocks doesn't recharge your midair jump. You just have to commit to it. You feel fragile. In contrast, chaining midair jumps between enemies feels quite powerful because you have the entire next jump to use. Anyway, those are some of the physics quirks that I've listed off because it's kind of hard to analyze fucking physics in a video game. Hey guys, did you know it's kind of hard to analyze physics in a video game? The thing is, video games are made of animation and sound design. In particular, if a movement-based game is good, like a platformer, my favorite genre, is good, there's probably something in the physics that's worth looking at. So I hope you learned a thing or two from my fucking physics section in this video. Dustforce has a wide variety of interesting and fun layouts to dust through. You've got easy levels, medium levels, hard levels, master levels, forward levels, spiraling levels, upward levels, downward levels, combat arenas, levels which are too precarious to have any checkpoints, and hideout. The variety of layouts makes Dustforce fun and good. I don't know what else to say about that. I just really like Dustforce. Yay! I hope you're familiar enough with the game because I'm gonna start talking about things now. Dustforce does everything it can possibly do to keep players in a state of flow. Minimal menus have quick transitions and are interactable before the visual transition is even finished. This allows players to exit levels instantly, restart levels instantly. It just gives a feeling of control, I suppose. Most levels contain frequent checkpoints, which can be turned off in the menu, but I don't recommend it, even for practicing perfect runs. And the sound effects for failing is easy on the ears. Level starts and respawns are quick as they come. Load times are instant. Outside of the opening cinematic and watching player replays, there are no cutscenes in the game whatsoever. That means that the player is in control of the player character for as long as possible. There is almost no time whatsoever while Dustforce.exe is running in which players are not playing Dustforce. The music is relaxing and meditative, which eases frustration on difficult levels, yet contrasts well with the precise, fast gameplay to evoke, I don't fucking know, good vibes. The level selection is a level in and of itself with personality, scale, and mechanical variety, matching the levels it contains in the areas which contain them. In-game dialogue doesn't block players from moving. Level completion is fast and can be interrupted by the player the moment it starts. These are all the things I could think of which Dustforce does to keep players in a state of flow. The experience of playing Dustforce is a continuous series of janitorial acrobatics. This is important because janitorial acrobatics is what Dustforce does particularly well. Dustforce leans into its strengths and hides its weaknesses, if it has any, which is a smart way of not only developing games, which is an incredibly demanding and life-consuming pastime, it's a smart way of making any art. Let's talk about Dustforce's leaderboard. Every time the player completes a level, they are shown a rank and their position on a leaderboard. Every time a player completes a level, their replay is recorded and viewable by any other player, or at least your personal bests are. This turns the leaderboard from something that fosters competition into something that fosters collaboration. It turns the leaderboard into a tool which helps players figure out how to beat a level better, or more easily, or faster. I'd also like to say that the leaderboard is perfectly optimized. It loads instantly. Clicking a button to scroll through other players loads instantly, replays load instantly, and play in-game. They don't play in like a video form, they play within the game's physics. Platforming, level design, soundtrack, sound design, visual design. It all comes together to make jumping and swinging and dashing really, really fun and fun for a very long time. The visuals are really easy on the eyes. The soundtrack is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. I don't even feel the need to make a game anymore because Dustforce just is it. It is minimalist, focused, polished, deep. It's just everything I could ever want out of a game. The level settings, while not particularly creative and outlandish, are quite humble. I particularly like the digital levels with their large blocks of single colors. Community levels push that aesthetic quite far. Dustforce is just it. It's just... Okay, anytime you hear me criticize a platforming game, try to compare it to Dustforce, because that's what I do. I compare every platformer to Dustforce, and obviously, a lot of platformers also want to tell a story, a narrative story, with characters and a 3-act structure. But you know what? Stories like that, they're good once or twice, and then, why am I going to replay your game? Because of its platforming. So like, if you don't optimize your game to allow me to play the platforming on repeat playthroughs, then you are less optimal than Dustforce. The experience of playing Dustforce is the experience of learning a new motor skill. And that's my favorite thing to do while playing an app, is learning a new motor skill. It's something that can't be expressed with words exactly. It is inherently kinetic. The feeling of gaining speed and keeping it through precise movement and technique is just fun, okay? I like having fun. I like playing. I'm a human being. I like playing games. I grew up playing games. I'm an adult and I fucking play games. Do you play games? You should play Dustforce. Play it, please. Thanks, Lifeform. Thanks, Hitbox Team. I'm just gonna name... Here's a fucking quirk about Dustforce. You don't even fucking know. Dustforce is so fucking minimalist that it does not have a credits. It doesn't have an end credits. I don't know the names of the people who made my favorite games of all time, other than Terrence Lee, the composer. Hitbox Team, they're just someone. I don't know who Hitbox Team is. Maybe Hitbox Team doesn't want their names out. Maybe they just want to be Hitbox Team. Hitbox Team, humble little indie developers. If you like Mario 64, if you play Mario 64 ROM hacks, you might like Dustforce.